Hello, I hope you're having an amazing day. This is Colleen Tatum. I have been way too busy and way too relaxed on recording this content for y'all. So I am doing it today. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be no picture because I keep not doing it because I look like a hot mess, or I'm just picking up the kids and I have, 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there. That's the life of an entrepreneur, right? And so it's been too long that I haven't been doing it, and I am committed to doing it. So I'm just going to do it imperfectly, which is always my motto. Do it, but do it imperfectly. You can't wait until things are exactly the way you want it to be to do something. But I do feel like doing this content is important. So, welcome to Rising Through. If this is your first time listening, we explore building a business piece by piece in the financial services industry. We also explore the concept of rising through, the concept of struggle leading to success, and that muck, that guck, that struggle is the fertilizer for your eventual success. So today we're going to be talking about 4 keys that I found are really needed for business success. Now, this is not an all-inclusive list, but for sure these are 4 things that have been on my mind lately and that I think are really important for business. Number 1 is a daily method of operation. If you've been listening to this podcast or content for a while, you've heard me talking about that. But what the heck is a DMO? Daily method of operation. What is your daily standard that you commit to be able to move your business forward? So if it's in financial services or many other service-based, client-based businesses, you need to do a certain number of reach outs, certain number of prospecting a day. Maybe you need to post on your social media every single day. Maybe you need to do so many follow-ups every single day. What are 3 to 5 key items that you commit to do every single day that will move your business forward? And these should be revenue generating activities. They shouldn't be necessarily organizing my desk or busy work. I want it to be revenue generating. Not that organizing your desk isn't important, but it isn't as important as making sure that you have the number of appointments required each week to hit your sales target, to move your business forward and actually bring you in revenue. I used to get overwhelmed thinking that I had to do so much a day that sometimes I would not do it because the amount was overwhelming. I wanted to do massive sales, I wanted to do massive activity, and so it was almost like a high number would make me have paralysis and fearful, or I would think often it was going to take me so much longer than it was going to. So I'm building a financial services business, and every single day I would think I need to contact people, I need to do calls, and I would think in my head like I need an hour to do that. And so I would look at my day and I'd say, I don't know where I'm going to have an hour. I've got to build my business. I'm a mom. I've got to pick up my kids from school. I got to make supper. I got to do all these things. And so I wouldn't have an hour, so I wouldn't do it. And so I would often stack day after day after day of inactivity together. And that created huge inconsistency in my business. So a key takeaway from one of the business coaches that I had before, which I think business coaches are great, listening podcasts are great. They said, it's okay to have a low production day, but it's not okay to have a no production day. Meaning, what is a minimum standard of reach outs or those 3 to 5 key business revenue generating activities that you need to do every single day? And you need to stack those day after day after day. Something that you can do regardless of if you've got to pick up the kids and make supper, or regardless of if there's a flood in your basement or you're sick. What is the minimum standard? And that minimum standard you can do every single day. Now, certainly there's going to be days where you're going to go do the minimum standard and you do have an hour or you do have longer to do more reach outs or build more content or make more sales. But there's going to be days more often than not, especially if you're starting out part-time in any business. Oftentimes in our business and financial services, people will start part-time and then they are trying to build up enough income so that they can go full time. And so there's this moment in time where you've got to fit it in. Or now in my stage of business, I have lots of appointments every day. I'm very, very blessed that I have people organically booking on my calendar. And I also need to find or craft time to be able to still do those revenue generating activities, still make sure that I'm doing those core foundational items to move my business forward. And so that becomes your DMO. What is your minimum standard? And it might be one reach out a day, one post a day, and one follow up a day. For me, for a long time, it was 3 to 5 reach outs a day, a post a day, and 5 follow ups a day. I would at least try and do that so that I was moving my business forward every single day. It's more important to be consistent than it is to do huge, massive activity. It's more important to be consistent with small activity than it is to do large activity that you cannot sustain consistently. Does that make sense? It's like working out. If you can do 10 minutes a day, is better than you working out for 2 hours on the weekend and killing yourself. So daily consistent activity that's small enough that no matter what is happening in your life, no matter what's on fire, you can still get that DMO done. That's going to do a ton more for your business success than trying to overcome these huge numbers that you have in your head, trying to find an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours every day to put aside to do these business activities. And what often happens is you just end up not doing it. And then the risk of quiet quitting comes in, where you just, stack 5, 10, 15 days of inactivity together, and then you just kind of give up on your dreams. So that's a DMO. That's, I find, really, really important. You've got to set what your daily method of operation is, that minimum standard with yourself, and you have to do it every single day, no matter what. Number 2 is tracking. If you are doing your DMO, you should be tracking. It's easy to track. I'm doing 5 reach outs a day. Track it. As you build your business, tracking for me has become really important because sometimes you don't get immediate gratification of a yes. You send out 5 messages, no one answers you back. You come back the next day, you send out 5 messages, no one answers you back. And you continue to do that, and you start to feel sometimes dejected, rejected, like, oh, this isn't working. But if you can track not only your reach outs, your DMO, but the results that you're getting, you can start to see patterns. Okay, after 100 reach outs, I'm going to get 5 customers, or whatever your number ends up to be. And so it starts to become a way for you to look and say, hey, if I need to hit a certain target in my business, if I want a certain income, I know that I need to do X amount of reach outs or X amount of activity that generates me revenue. It also, honestly, for me, is a way for me to remind myself of my successes, my small wins along the way when I'm feeling not so good about my results. I've got big dreams. I've got big goals. When we transition from our automotive business into financial services, I have an intention of building a very large agency across Canada and the US. We are well on track, but not every day feels that way. Often in business, there's ups, there's downs, there's 1 minute you think everything is going to fail and collapse, and the next minute you're super pumped up and on cloud 9. And so tracking for me has been a way for me to go back and say, hey girl, maybe you're not where you want to be, but certainly you're on the right track, because this result, that result, this small win, that small win. And so I can make myself feel better and re-energized when I'm starting to feel like things aren't working as fast or exactly the way I want them to be. Tracking, looking back at those numbers, really help me to get re-energized in my business and to continue on. So both tracking so that you can see patterns in your business and create some predictability, because if you do X, you'll get Y, and then it becomes a numbers game, meaning if you, again, want a certain number of revenue in your business, I need to do X reach outs or X number of activities to get that result. But also, to cheer yourself up a bit, to be your own cheerleader on the days where you're like, oh, none of this is working. Go back to your trackers and it'll often tell a tale. It might tell a tale where some gaps are, where some tweaks need to happen, but it also often is going to show you those small wins again so that you can say, all right, maybe I'm not making the $1 million a year that I want to yet, but I'm certainly on track. I'm certainly making progress. Now, with that, number 3 is delegation. Delegation. Everything that you say yes to is also something else that you're saying no to. And so, as you're building this business, you can't be the perfect mom, the perfect housekeeper, the perfect dad, the perfect friend, family member. You can't do all of the things. You can't volunteer 1,000,000 hours a week at a church or at a charity and have a really active personal life and be able to do all the trips and do all the cleaning and do all the cooking and do all the school drop-offs and do all the. Does it make sense what I'm saying? The more things you say yes to means the more often you're saying no to your business. So you may not be able to delegate everything, but I do think sooner rather than later, you have to look at what can I give up? Maybe my house isn't going to be perfectly clean and that's okay. Maybe we're going to eat takeout more than we would like, and that's okay because we're in a season of building a business. But also, doing things like VA, virtual assistants, having an assistant. I have an assistant in my business way before many other people in similar position of mine have an assistant. For me, I couldn't do what I do and be able to be a mom and be able to show up the way I want to in the rest of my life and also do all of the paperwork and also build out all of the content myself and also answer all the emails and the messages and this and that and that. And so very soon into my business, I hired an assistant who does my paperwork. That's not something that I feel like I should be doing. I could be doing more of this, which helps generate more revenue for the business, which pays for the assistant. But I also have people that help me with other things. And so that might be delegating lawn care to someone. That might be hiring a cleaner. That might be hiring someone that does meal prep for you. And thinking about it in the way of, okay, if it costs me $200 a week to have a house cleaner, maybe you need to do one more sale a week in your business or one more sale a month in your business to pay for that. And that's going to be allowing you to free up more mental energy to be able to strategize in your business, because delegation becomes really important, but it also ties into the number 4 point of vision. As a business owner, your responsibility to your team and yourself is to have a big vision. And if you don't have enough space in your day, in your week, to let your mind rest, to be able to take that walk, to be able to meditate with yourself for a minute, spend some time thinking about your own thoughts. If you're just running from task to task to task, you never get that creative energy. And so oftentimes being a business owner isn't about having active work time every single minute of the day. It's also about allowing yourself time and space to have the mental capacity to see the vision, to be able to, when someone comes to you with a problem, have enough bandwidth to be able to emotionally and business intelligently respond to that problem or question that they have. So you've got to delegate and you've got to allow yourself the space, because when all of these come through, when you're having the bad day, when you're doing the prospecting and you don't feel like it, when you're sick, when there's a problem that comes up, having a big vision is what is going to propel you forward. It's not just about the daily activity. It's about what is it that you're really building for? What is it that you're really sacrificing the perfectly clean house for, if that's important to you? What is it that you're sacrificing that for? What's the end game? What's the goal? What's the vision? So having that big vision for me looks like being able to have enough money so that my kids have a really good nest egg going forward into their adult life. I want to make sure that I have enough money so that we can help them buy that first house. I'd love to buy it for them. You know, in today's economy, that might not be realistic for everyone if their parents don't help them out. So I feel like that's really important. I want to give my kids a really good head start so that they don't have to worry about money the way we did. You know, give them the ability to pursue some things in their life that they feel really important about and not have to worry so much about, is it going to pay me enough money? I would love to be able to travel more with my family. Travel for me and my family is like the most important thing. I think it brings a family together in a really beautiful way. It's such a teacher for me. And so I love to travel. That's really, really important to me. I want to have that freedom of time to be with my family, both when emergencies come up and also to be able to enjoy good times together. I want to be able to give more to charity. I think vacations are really, really important. And a goal of mine is to be able to give families a vacation that they would never, ever be able to afford. I think it's that important to family bonding, family unification, family time in a vacation is a beautiful, special thing. So one of my goals, one of my visions is to be able to give vacations away to families that have never been on vacation and will never be able to afford it otherwise. And so that vision, whatever it is for you, maybe you want to have a big house, maybe you want to have, a maid, maybe you want to, I don't know what it looks like for you, but what is that vision? Because when times get tough, when that DMO is facing you in the day and you're like, oh my God, my basement's flooding, I don't want to do my DMO, that's when you fall back on vision. That's when you say, hey, I know I got to do this even if I don't feel like it, because if I don't do it, my vision ain't happening. And it comes back to that saying of, hey, there's graveyards all across the world filled with people that have never actually lived. And that vision is you declaring to yourself that all of these activities, the DMO, the delegation, the tracking, the showing up for yourself day in, day out, despite what maybe your friends and family are saying to you, despite maybe what your haters are saying to you, that vision is what pulls you through. It's you declaring, no, my goals, my dreams are important enough that I'm going to put the work into it to make it happen. Because when I come to the end of my days, I want to say that I took the shot. I want to say that I went for it and I'm going to totally go for it. I don't want to sit at the end of my days and say, man, if only I worked 20% harder, I could have had that goal happen. If only I didn't worry so much about what Susan on Facebook thought about me and my posts, and I really went for it and I really committed to it, I could have had that dream house. I could have went on that dream vacation. I could have spent more time with my family. I could have helped my kids buy a house. I could have retired my parents. I just never really went for it. And so that vision is your declaration, your commitment to yourself of, this is where we're going, this is why we're doing this, and this is going to be worth it. It's that declaration to your team, to everyone that comes behind you of like, why the heck are we doing this? And it helps you hold that standard for them and for yourself. So these are my 4 points in business that I feel like are really, really important. They've been key for me in my growth. They're key, I think, for you and your growth. And I hope this has been helpful for you, and continue rising through.